Can I get a hey, Pinayista?
Hey, Pinayista!
All right, good morning, or is it afternoon already? Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation on intergenerational healing, and I appreciate the warm welcome. I actually want to ground us in a little bit. We just had some amazing speakers, and I want us to download a little bit as we transition to this space. So go ahead and close your eyes. Let all of those beautiful words that you heard soak in. Feel the energy, the vibration. If you feel moved to, grab a hand, a shoulder next to you. And I want you again to think of that person that called to mind during that morning grounding. Who is that lineage that you come from? Who is that ancestor that you evoked? Who is that person that you want to have in that space, in that heart space, in that head space? Who is coursing through the chemicals, the body, the neurons, the blood in you? See their faces, hear their voices. The relationship between generations, carrying love and longing, tenderness and tension, wealth, worth, possibility, whatever these words mean to you, I want you to remember it. I want you to chew on it, digest it. And remember that we are in the presence of greatness. Just look around. And even if you can't look around, they see you. We feel you, we carry you. Now go ahead and open your eyes. We have these amazing, beautiful faces around us. Like they were saying, there's titas, there's lolas, there's anaks all around here. Ates, right? There's stories, and we're going to hear from some of those today of survival, of struggle, of tenderness. This space is rare. A room of women speaking honestly about heritage, hustle, money, whatever the connotation is that brings to you, we're going to hold it. Earlier, I was writing this, and a dear friend of mine, her voice, radiant, giggling, laughing. You actually heard from her earlier, Adelina. And she said, you know what? Boundaries? I don't know if I believe in that stuff. It's not the goal. And I resonate with that. Boundaries are not the goal. Right? Healing is not the destination. I'm a therapist, but healing is not the destination. It's a relationship. It's a homecoming to ourselves, our roots, the futures. So again, I'm Dr. Jean-Aurellia Tolentino. I come to you as a mother, a sister. You saw my daughter running around. And I appreciate this welcoming to this space. And me, I came into this and founder of Lillian Psychological Services and Therapinay actually when I became a mother. So my journey into entrepreneurship became as a mother who experienced pregnancy and infant loss, which propelled me into actually creating these spaces of collective care, kapwa, and liberation, all while embracing sisterhood and Pinayness in all messy, ugly forms. And today, we focus on these voices, our heritage, our hustle, our relationship to money. So I invite you all to really reflect on what you may have inherited. our fears, our ambitions, our understanding of success. What does money really mean? We're in a system in our United States where money is a very raw topic. And so we have these legacies. We are steeped in that stew. But what do we create? What is the dish that we want to serve? So at any time, if any of these stories or any of stuff in yourself come up, we have therapists, we have healers. Take care. And I hope that the openness that you have now can also transform yourselves from the stories that we're going to hear into purpose and possibility. So I want to start with a very honest question for each of you, just to answer as you will, but introduce yourselves. I would love to hear who is on stage. I would love everyone else actually to hear who is on stage, your relationship to each other, and what does intergenerational healing for you? And when you think of your mother, your lola, your ading, whoever that is, in the context of heritage, hustle, money, and what that story of success or survival might look like. I know it's heavy. I know we just jumped into that. But I know they're brave and they can do this. Do you want to go first?
My name is Adrienne Reyes. Hannah was telling me earlier, I'm in a room full of Adries. I feel so connected to all of you, and I'm happy to share my story. This is my daughter, Hannah Pioquinto, and my mother, Joyce Reyes, and I'm in gratitude for sharing the space with them. So a little bit about me. On my tag, I have here Conscious Creative Director. I am mindful, spiritual, but also want to do everything and dabble in different things. So you'll see some desserts that I created later on to enjoy. I'm also a healer. I do have a nonprofit feeding the homeless in Los Angeles with prana-infused food, among other things. For the intergenerational healing for me, it's taking my mom's wisdom, experience, transmuting it to my own story, and giving a safe space for Hannah to establish her own.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I am currently a student, and I'm an aspiring artist, and I am co-founder of Life Force Kitchen. So intergenerational healing to me is, my journey is still in the works of construction. So I'm taking, the observation, or my observations from both my Lola's and my mom's experiences, and using that to form my own consciousness.
Y'all, she's like 16. She's like 16, y'all.
I love this new generation.
This one's hot.
Great.
So exciting.
So typical Pinoys, I have to acknowledge Hannah's twin sister, Olivia, in the back. Olivia!
Yes.
And her ate, Ava. So, me first. So I retired a couple of years ago, worked in corporate. So there's a common theme that I'm hearing. We come to this land to start working, be employed. And somewhere along the line, we either stay in that role or we venture out on our own. So retirement, we shouldn't wait until retirement. I think while you're young, you can venture out. I waited until retirement. Why? Because there was this fear. There's this anxiety. I cannot support my family. And how can I take my, how can I move away from being in this family mode to a businesswoman? So it took until retirement to do that. And in retirement, I was able to not only have a personal real estate business, Adrienne and I share a healing business. I am an executive director of the American Pranic Healers Association globally. And I'm still a Lola.
Love this panel. I'm Gina Mariko. I'm the founder and director of Pinayista, and I'm the founder and CEO of Make It Mariko events. This is my mom. And yeah, I like really wanted to have this panel at Summit this year because we've been on our own healing journey the past couple years, even if she doesn't know it. But I've been on my own healing journey with my relationship with my mom also ever since you retired, right? I feel like it's been changing. And so it's been beautiful, like how it's been changing. And so I just wanted to talk about that and open it up because I know that I'm not the only one like who's going through these changes with our generational folks. So yeah, this panel is like an opening, but also for us to have a conversation.
Hello and good morning, all the Pinays and beautiful faces. You all look gorgeous. So my name is Lillian Rosales. I have the honor of being Gina and Alvin's mom. And I spent 40 plus years in corporate America. So that's my context. What is intergenerational healing for me? So I came to this country as a graduate student, and I pretty much followed the path that most Filipino parents expect of their children. You work for somebody, you earn a good living, and you retire from there. And somewhere in between, you bring up your family. And so my experience is a little bit different from those of you who are business owners. But part of that is really reconciling the expectations that my parents brought and that I had to balance coming to this country. And then once I had kids, is recognizing that their path is going to be very different from mine, definitely different from my parents. So we can definitely talk about that.
Thank you, Tita.
She's a boss, even though she didn't own a business. She was a boss woman at Kaiser, y'all.
Well, Tita Lillian brought up a really good, point too. Of there's certain things that we've learned. Coming into this diaspora, there's a reason why we're in the United States. And so I'm curious, what are those things that you might have learned about survival, about struggle, about making it? Well, this is also for you, right? Like, what is the things that you see in your family, in the women, about these messages, spoken or unspoken?
So this is hot off the presses. This has never been in public before. When we first came to the US, my husband and I, we did not have any papers. So right now, this is the biggest noise you hear. So not only did we have this fear, immigration, right? Your silence, because you cannot, when you're loud, people look at you. So you have to, we were not in the shadow, but we were visible, but quiet. So fast forward, we put our heads down, we work like dogs. My husband, we came, he had $200, I had $200. One in my pocket, one in my wallet, and my husband, he put the $200 in his shoes. It's so typical Filipino, you do not want to lose it. So it was in his shoes. So kind of fast forward now, when I look at what we did, it wasn't for us, it was for them. And what, Uh, I'll make this fun now. So along with this roller coaster ride where you're always working hard, there's always moments where you find this is the reason why I'm here. This is the reason why we came here. And there's a lot of healers here, and I could feel you all. This feeling of I knew where I was gonna be. At 16, I knew I wasn't gonna be in the Philippines. So for the young ones, when you have that seed and that thought in your head and in your heart, follow it, because that is your North Star.
The thing that's biggest for me is the love and appreciation I have for you and Dad. And for you to be able to speak and open up about that, I know that's so healing. And just to witness that, that's why I start crying. So thank you, because you're not only healing yourself, you're also healing everyone that's currently going through this. So thank you, Mom. I'm in the generation that I feel like a sandwich because I'm not only looking after my 3 girls, I'm also looking after my mom and dad. So what was the question again?
Yes. All of this, how does that?
So the survival, that I appreciate everything that they've done and I've learned from that. And I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to not have to endure it, to formulate my own. But not only that, you also created a platform for me to create for them. And so I know, Hannah, you're going through all this, just processing everything, but like, I can't tell you the amount of blessings that you have from Lola and from me, and from Lolo too. Your turn.
So I have a lot of gratitude towards my Lola and my mom because their stories are similar but very different. So when I was younger, and my Lola and my mom would work from home. So I would kind of act like an intern from upstairs. From upstairs, my Lola would be working, and my downstairs, my mom would be working, and I would often watch them work in their cubicle jobs, and then slowly build up to her own businesses, her pranic healing. So it was like I got to see that experience of both that fear of financial fear, and then I also got to see that embrace of dreams, of comfort. I got to see them heal from kind of being released, like releasing themselves from that 9 to 5. So now I get to use their experience to formulate my own instead of. So now I have to think of responsibility, but also my own happiness.
God, I love this generation. This is a new generation, honestly.
Tell them how old you are.
How old are
I'm 16 years old.
you? Dang.
So I heard different themes from the ladies in back, and I guess I'm going to pick up on a couple of them. So one is the theme. Now, whether you were born here or you came here and you were born in the Philippines, as you can imagine, the struggles and the challenges you face being born in the Philippines and having to adapt and integrate into the American environment is very different from being born here. Okay, so Gina and I have a very different experience. She was born here. I came here when I was in my early 20s. So the challenges that we faced growing up, and I basically grew up here because I had to adapt to the American environment, is very different. And I think that's part of in a way, intergenerational healing is that you have to recognize and be forgiving of the fact that the challenge you're going to go through has its own context, right? Gina's context is different than mine. She was born here. She grew up with Americans of all different colors and, right? With Americans, black, whites, purple, and whatever. So where I came here and I had to get used to hearing American language, American colloquial expressions, and learning to adapt to American way of working. So while I was in corporate America, being successful and being recognized as a Filipina, brown, 5 feet tall woman, and being recognized for what you bring to the table is a very different sort of challenge. And, you know, as I said, just kind of be mindful and forgiving about that, because the experiences of your mama, your titas, your lolas is very different. The challenges that they faced is very different than, you know, maybe your mom and definitely your daughters.
Yeah, and I mean, we're like very different too because, you know, we have like a beautiful generational of entrepreneurship. Like that's amazing. Whereas like where I was at is my parents worked so hard in corporate America for us to have like steady, you know, solid jobs. And I worked at Google for 7 years. So I was working on self-driving cars for like, I was there for 7 years. And my mom was the one who actually helped encourage me because I almost didn't want to go to the interview. And she was like, I don't care if you're a janitor at Google, it's Google. No.
Okay, I gotta tell the story. I'm gonna tell the story. So here's the true story about that, okay? Gina calls me one day and says, and by the way, at that time, when she called me, she was working for a nonprofit, right? She calls me one day and she says, Mom, a Google recruiter called me. They're kind of interested in me. I'm not really interested in them. And I'm like, girl, do you know how many people would be thrilled to have a Google recruiter say they'd like to interview you? And I said, you're going to that interview. And she goes, I don't want to. Yeah, go to the interview. What are you going to lose, right? So she did. And end result being they offered her a job and she comes back and said, I'm not really interested. This went on and on until I finally prodded her because she was focused on serving the nonprofit industry. And at that time you were writing grants. And I told her, okay, you want to serve your nonprofit industry? Well, guess what? You can do that, but on the other side, where you're doing the one processing and receiving the grants and maybe helping make those decisions. So I don't know what finally prompted her to accept the position, but she did, thank goodness.
I needed money. So I took the job. But like, yeah, you know, when I was there, it was great and I loved it. But actually, like the way we grew up, like when I was there for 7 years and I finally decided like, I'm gonna start my own company, I'm gonna quit Google. They're like, why would you ever do that? Why? So I ended up like going part-time first and then like going in. But it was so scary because they had modeled for me such a safe way. And then here I was going into this like crazy like uncertainty. So for me, it's always been a struggle of like, is this safe? And like, am I gonna, and then I just kind of told you, I think, you know what, just trust me. Like, just trust me. Like this is what I really want and I'm gonna be okay. You know, cause I think you're also worried that, you know, I wasn't gonna be able to take care. And I think that's why like this journey for me of intergenerational healing is so hard because I think back at like 7 whatever years ago, I said, trust me to start this business. And even though, you know, business is like, it's successful, like everyone's like, oh, you're killing it. Okay, actually there's like a thing too, if you could like bring it down. It's like online, you're killing it. yeah, we're doing amazing things online. You can see that. But then at the same time, behind the scenes, people don't know what's happening. So even like in this time of, I've been running Making Mariko now almost 10 years. I'm so proud. 10 years, but then like through some of these past years, it's been so hard. And there's been times where I haven't been paying myself because I couldn't afford to. And I had to actually ask my parents for a loan. Like I think it was even last year. We were in a hole and I was like gonna be in a cash flow deficit of like hella money. And so I literally had to meet my dad in a Jack in the Box parking lot in Walnut Creek because he had to give me a $50,000 check so that I could deposit it just in time to make my credit card payment for Make It Mariko. And to me, that felt so shameful because I was like, oh my God, like I'm failing them. I told them to trust me, and here I am asking them for money to keep my company afloat. So I felt so much shame in that moment. But I think what's been beautiful is we've been having conversations about it, and me just like sharing that and having my mom be able to be like, it's okay, you know, we're proud of you, because I think your biggest fear is like, they're not gonna be proud anymore, or you failed them. Like I promised them I'd take care of myself, and here I am asking for help, you know? So just to have you say that, you know, just meant so much, because that's all we want, right, is to make our parents proud. So, oh, we went there already. There we go.
I love it because I don't have to ask the question.
I guess I'm gonna emphasize the point that Gina made. And whether you're in corporate America or you're running your own business, you're gonna stumble. We're gonna stumble, okay? Whether the challenge is small or it's big, it's financial or it's in the nature of your work, keep in mind, and I can say this to you because I'm old. I'm 70 years old. I've had 40 plus years experience in corporate America primarily, but I can tell you that you will face challenges as you evolve as a businesswoman, as a woman. And it's okay to stumble, because sometimes it's from that stumble that you pick yourself up and you find that there's a fork in the road that leads you somewhere else. So if you listen back to the talks earlier, there are different things that will trigger that it's time for you to maybe think about that thing in the back of your mind that you've been wanting to do for a while. And maybe it's time for you to open that window. Because for me, I am now retired. I retired 2 years ago. And thank you. And I gave myself grace to recover from my work, as I was in security and compliance. It's very high pressure. So I gave myself time to breathe and just bum around and do nothing. But now, if I'm lucky to be here for another 10, 15 years, I need to figure out what to do with my skill set, because I'm still alive and kicking, thank goodness. Still relatively healthy, but now I need to know, where do I apply? Because I'm not going to watch YouTube all day long for 10 years. So I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the next 10, 15 years. So any ideas, come and talk to me.
Well, I think one of the other pieces that you're touching upon too is like, this is a journey, right? There's ups and downs through it, and we see the bright and shiny successes that could be there. But I also want to give, you know, our audience, our folks in the, who are listening, who want to become entrepreneurs, the reality of it as well. And so I'm curious for you, what has been some of those parts where you talked about shame, you talked about some of those things that do come up. What has been that hardest part for you that you might have learned, or yet you had to unlearn in your healing process as an entrepreneur? Pinay.
I think for me, there's two that come up. One is self-doubt, you know, like you have this great idea, like, oh, is it gonna work? Are they going to show up? Are they going to buy tickets? Like, I don't know. So it's working through that, finding that confidence and just going for it. And whatever happens is supposed to happen. And the other part of it too is, you know, I also worked in corporate for like 21 years. So I've been in this very masculine energy, especially after the divorce, like single mom, trying to do everything, trying to be the provider, the protector, everything. So learning how to fall into my feminine and be able to receive, that's the one that I'm really learning right now.
I had to think.
So what's the hardest thing for me? Letting go. I'm kind of like yin and yang, or I'm black and white. I'm male, female, and somewhere in the middle, there's all these crazy ideas, right? I can be retired and not do anything and just Netflix, you know? But after 2 months of doing that, guess what? I was stressing. I'm craving this. I gotta be busy. I gotta do something. So I'm gonna go back to the question because I lost my train of thought. What was hard was finding what was right for me. What is my purpose? I thought I was a mom. I'm now a Lola. But what else can I do? And that was hard. So what came to me was actually pranic healing. And pranic healing is energy healing. It's been in the family, okay? For some of you, you'll probably say, ooh, voodoo, you know, or alborario, or my gosh, it's not Catholic. And that was hard for me too. We're devout Catholics. It's sin. It's a sin to do what you're doing. But what they don't realize is when we heal, we ask and we pray. It's not us. It's the divine helping us. So in answer your question, what did I find? This purpose of giving back, serving. And that's what we do is I do healings. There's also the service that we give. And maybe if I can add one more, cancer. Cancer, it has been prevalent in our family. And that popped up in my mind on how do I serve? How can I give back and how can I help avoid this deadly disease? And if I can do it with healing and in praying, then I would be happy until the rest of my life.
So for myself, like I've mentioned many times before, I'm still like in the early stages of really trying to find like what I want to do, and if that would be entrepreneurship. I would say fear and doubt, like my mom said, is a real killer. Like it can really break down your motivation. It can really like prevent you from doing anything you want. Like I feel like that's just the hardest thing to overcome. Yeah.
For me, the lesson I'm really learning and leaning into like this year, even in the past a couple years, is just learning direct communication. So my mom is Filipino, my dad is Filipino and Okinawan. And so like Japanese culture is like even more so like, oh, you got feelings? Cool, just push them real far down. As far as possible and forget about them, okay? And so like we didn't learn direct communication. Like, what's that? Like, we just like beat around the bush so much. So like now I'm in this journey. I've been in therapy for like 6 years. I'm now in couples therapy for like 10 months with my husband. And god damn, my life is literally changing. I feel like a whole different human being just by learning how to vocalize my needs. Like, it feels so dumb to say out loud, I'm learning how to share my feelings. But like, I'm learning how to tell my mom, that upset me when you said that. Or tell my husband, I want you to love me like this. And say in my business to my employees, this is what I need you to do and by this date. Literally, that's been so hard for me, and I've lost so much money just because I'm like trying to be everyone's friend as opposed to trying to be running a business because I don't want them to not like me. because I want them all to be my friends. And it's like, that's not serving me. So just learning how to vocalize is like really honestly changing my life and all of my relationships, but it's work in progress.
How do you show up? That's a key question. Whether you're a business owner or you work in corporate America, how you show up every day to your team, to your colleagues, to your bosses, it's a critical challenge when you're a Filipino woman. So as Gina mentioned, I was in a position of authority. But you look at me, I'm 5 feet tall, and I needed to find an acceptable way for me to show up as a leader, feel good about it, and be found to be acceptable to my colleagues. And that's not easy. Why? Because when you're brown and you're a brown woman, when you stand up, whether they're your colleagues, they're white or black or brown, the general impression is you will be perceived as a...
Say it. You're a safe space.
You will be perceived as a bitch. Okay, so it on. I am mindful of the young ladies that are in the room. So it's really a struggle, and you will find your own formula on how you want to show up as a leader and as a Filipino woman or businesswoman. And that's the growth pattern that you're gonna have to find on your own. You're gonna have your own path. It took me a while to figure that out, because when you're reporting to the CIO of a Silicon Valley company and you're the only woman in that mix, you have to, just by pure survival, find a way to not concede that you have the same role as the rest of the boys. Okay, and you know, as I said, you have to kind of figure that out for yourself on how to be true to yourself, but still not cede who you are in your role.
I love Tita Lillian. That's so thrilled. So as we come to a close, I really want to, come back to that theme of homecoming, right? Healing, like we said, isn't a destination. There's a process. It's messy. It's ugly. But there is also that return to things. There's a homecoming to it. There's an integration. There's a synthesis. There's a way that we come back to ourselves, each other, the relationships, and the stories that we might have once heard, and trying to figure out what is that next story? What is that next chapter that we want to write and do? And so thinking about all of those things and your healing process and what you might have learned, I want you to consider, what is that hope? What is that hope that you want to let folks here in the room know, the next generation, in your family or your network? And what is that gift? One gift, lesson about money, the hustle, entrepreneurship that you want to share.
Okay, you want to go? Since we're talking intergenerational, and I'm going to go off the title of Roots and Wings, it's one, having reverence for the roots. Thank you, Mom and ancestors, for everything. And then for the wings, it's, I've had my wings. I've been flying, I've been crashing, I've been getting up again. But I have 3 little ones that I'm helping to spread their wings so they can take off.
If I were to leave one nugget, and I think Chef already said this, give yourself permission to fail. and be kind to yourself. And I talked about that North Star inside you. You know what you want. But the noise around stops it from coming out of you. So I hope that my daughter, my granddaughters, and everyone in the room here know that you are supported. Look at this beautiful network. You are not alone. When you need help, our speaker said, come and see me. Come and get healing. I'm a therapist. I'm a Lola. If you need a hug, I can hug you.
Free hugs. Free hugs.
So that's it.
So, from my observations, I would say that this gift is the lesson of balance. I see that there's a big scale when it comes to responsibility and when it comes to, I guess, that comfort. From my Lola, I got to see the best of both worlds, like that mindset. And even though it was extreme to have that fear, financial fear, but I also got to get another extreme of exploration, and especially with being in America, like totally like that exploration of to find your dreams more comfortably. And I would say that my wings are, I get to explore my passion, which is art, and which is traditionally not like a very successful, in quote, successful pathway to choose. So, yeah.
Oh my God, I love you. My like lesson or gift is like, give people a chances, because I feel like maybe this is a conversation I wanted to have with my mom at some point. Maybe I couldn't even vocalize it yet, but now that I'm in a more healed place, I can vocalize it. But maybe even a couple years ago when you were still working, you weren't ready to hear it yet. And so if any of y'all in the audience are feeling like, oh, damn, I would love, or I could never have this conversation with my mom, like maybe not now, but like give them chances. Because like obviously now you're retired, so a little bit more chill, a lot more chill, like give people grace. And so now that she's also in a more healed place, now we can actually find each other, So like give people grace, but then give them a chance and like keep trying, because it's really beautiful. And that thing that you felt like you could never say, like try saying it and see what happens,
So I guess my final words of wisdom is this. Give yourself grace. If you stumble, pick yourself up and learn and grow from it. And trust me, you will find yourself, whether you find yourself in your 30s, your 40s, 50s, or 60s, it doesn't matter. You are growing, and that's, at the end of the day, is what really matters. So.
Thank you so much. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Before we do close up, I do want to open it up if there's one or two questions that are in the audience for two of our panels.
Thank you so much. You were right when you said you're gonna cry at the summit, right? Like, you're gonna cry at the summit, crying a lot. My question is so Gina, thank you for that very real, honest. Business is hard, especially this year is hard for a lot of people. Yes. And failure is part of it, right? Like, and asking for help. My question, I think, also for you, Lillian, was or really for everyone, what happens when you don't want to show up? When you're fucking tired, right? Someone asked me, "Is like, I'm surprised you're not speaking here." I'm like, I don't want to. I want to sit and chill, right? Like, what is that? Because sometimes I'm not always inspired. Sometimes I want to shut it down and be like, I don't care. Like everyone, when you are the leader, when you are the business owner, and you have to have all the answers, and be on point all the time, you cannot show that you are struggling, right? How do you deal with, I don't want to show up? And when does it feel like, okay, I can come back? Because I feel like for me, it's like this. And like the permission I'm looking for is, how can I make it a little bit more like this, right? So.
I could take that one. That's divine guidance telling you to rest. Because I feel like,
Yes.
right? If you keep going hard and you're not 100%, like you're gonna burn yourself out. So to get that equilibrium, tap into yourself, pour into you, and then it'll come out in your business.
And I will actually just share that, like at the end of 2021, literally we had this summit, and I was actually at the lowest point I've ever been in business. Everyone was having this beautiful summit out here, and I was in the back room with my girl Darlene over there just crying in between talks. And then it was literally Pinay community, like, that saved me. Shout out Chalog, shout out, Nadia Daala, Allison Carpio, like women from this community who said, Gina, you need to stop. And I actually shut down the business. I had to fire all of my employees, and I went on a 3-month sabbatical. And that was the only way, because otherwise I was the one doing sales. So if I kept the business open, but it was like incredibly traumatizing for me, but I really needed that time to like come back to myself. So permission granted for that.
One more, one. Oh my God, it's far back over there. Oh, there's two.
Hi, everyone. Well, I just want to thank everybody because I feel very held here, and I don't normally like cry in public, but I definitely just cried. So this is really for the moms and Lolas. Like, how, if you were to recreate the space where you wish your daughters would have been like created safety for them to speak to you about challenging things, what would you say? Like, how would you want us to do that? Because like for me, it's not necessarily the trouble I have with my mom, it's my dad that I feel like his instant protection like makes me feel like I'm not doing the best that I already feel like I am. And I'm like 40. I just turned 40 and I feel like this like the shift in me is like, how do I have that conversation? I feel like it's so difficult because his reactionariness like really triggers me. And so I want to like have open communication, but I can't like set it up to be like, it really hurt me what you said to me, and I don't want to, like I didn't have the capacity to like talk to you, but like that really hurt. And I just like can't get myself to do it. So what would you guys have said, or like, how do I approach this?
Do you want to talk about the past or what we can do differently going forward?
What we can do, what would you do differently? Like if you, yeah.
So I am now a Lola. I have one grandson. And to your question, how we talked to Gina, how we talked to my son Alvin was very different. And clearly at my age now, I have learned how to talk differently. So interestingly, my grandson is 4 years old. And speaking about heart to heart, we have the conversations that was not typical in my relationship with Gina and Alvin, because we talk about feelings. Oh, I mean, imagine talking about feelings with a 4-year-old, okay? So you evolve, and that at the end of the day is really what it's all about, right? You learn, you evolve, and it becomes much easier and to a certain point almost normal. So as a Lola now, I can have a more candid discussion with a 4-year-old and with my friends and clearly this community. So it does get easier with practice. That's at the end. That's really what it is, right? You just have to practice and be open to keep trying to find those ways to talk to them, and a little bit of patience. I mean, I do acknowledge it is hard to talk to aunts, uncles, lolas, and lolas who have a very, shall we say, intractable way of dealing and thinking about topics, and they may not always open up. But just hang in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Talking.
So being in that sandwich generation, I understood why I couldn't be as loud or vocal because of my parents' legal status. But what I'm creating for my daughters is a safe space that they can talk to me about anything, because I would rather them come to me than ask their friends or go to someone else where we have open and honest communication. But I also have to be open to receiving, Mom, you know what, you're messing up here, or I don't like how you did this. And for me not to take it personal, but kind of like, damn, you're right, you know? And it's all from a place of love. Now, can we do the same thing to your parents? Can you do the same thing to your dad? I feel like that's where you tap into your inner child and just, you know, what you want to hear from him that you may not get, like, give that to yourself.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you. You're welcome. Do you want to add? Yeah.
Okay. As Lola, there's these old traditional beliefs and customs that's so ingrained in our system. You are not heard. We talk to you, and don't say anything until I tell you to talk. So, and being here in the US, the main priority is success. I want to be successful. I want you to be successful, and you follow what I say because I'm right. As we grow older, we get softer. Part of it we forget. We forget how we were mean to you. No, really. So it takes two. So you're telling your dad does not talk to you. Well, do you talk to your dad? So you take the first step, because as old people, sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. But maybe you take the first step and said, hey, Dad, let's go out for coffee. Cards on the table. I need you to love me more. I need you to talk to me. And I'll do healing on you.
She needs hugs.
Yeah, Lola hugs for everyone after this, okay? Yes! Oh, I love Pinayista. Oh my God, it's like the dads at Pride who are like giving free hugs to like gay people who don't have their parents there. I love that.
Let's just take a quick
I just want to ask, how many other people's heart like dropped into your stomach when she said, Dad, I need you to love me? Damn, because I felt it. I was like, oof, that was direct.
It's hard work, right? It's hard work. And this is the work, right? This is the work beyond the hustle, beyond the money, beyond the entrepreneurship. This is the work that goes into it. This is what makes you successful. We often talked about the success is the checklist of things. Figure out your purpose, figure out your career, figure out your marriage, figure out who you're going to be able to be for your daughter, for yourself, for everybody else. It's a checklist of ongoing things. But it's this dropping in. It's the success of waking up every single day. Every single day. Right there. You are Pinay. We are Pinay. It's that success 500 years, right? That's the success. That's the legacy that we're doing. So when we remember that we are already successful, we just need to tap into each other. Our healing flows through that. So thank you. Thank you for the space.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jean. We love you. Okay. Oh my gosh. That was a lot.